Manipur. The Chief of the Indian Army, General Dalbir Singh, is at the moment in Imphal, taking stock of the situation a day after 18 soldiers were massacred by terrorists in the Chandel district yesterday. The army has mounted one of its biggest combing operations in the districts bordering Myanmar. The perpetrators may have slipped across the porous border, but the government is planning to initiate a multi-pronged strategy to counter the terrorist groups. Meanwhile, several families are mourning their martyrs, especially in the state of Himachal Pradesh. Govt Sawant and Asher Ahmed Khan with our top story tonight.
Not a dry eye in Jammu as the information of soldiers killed in Imphal terror attack reached the city. Of the 20 soldiers martyred, 7 are from Jammu, 8 from Himachal Pradesh.
ਉਹਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਦੁੱਖ ਵੀ ਆ ਔਰ ਉਹਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਮਾਣ ਵੀ ਆ ਸਾਡਾ ਬੱਚਾ ਦੇਸ਼ ਦੇ ਕੰਮ ਆਇਆ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਗਰਵ ਵੀ ਆ
This even as the army and Assam Rifles mounted one of the biggest counter-terror combing operations in Manipur to track down the perpetrators of the Friday attack. But the task is easier said than done. There are over 32 terror groups active in Manipur, and in the past 6 months there's a major realignment that has been taking place. Chandel and Churachandpur are the worst affected districts bordering Myanmar. The porous border makes it very difficult for security forces to crack down on terror. There are also intelligence reports that indicate in the Kachin province of Myanmar there are hostile foreign governments that are sheltering these terror groups.
गृह मंत्रालय की ओर से हमें आश्वस्त किया गया है कि आने वाले समय में भविष्य में इस प्रकार की घटनाओं को कैसा रोका जाए, इस प्रकार की एक सकारात्मक योजना बनाई जाएगी.
Friday was the third in a series of attacks on security forces in Manipur, Nagaland and Arunachal Pradesh since the NSC and K walked out of talks with Government of India. On May 2, a convoy of Assam Rifles was attacked in the Mon district of Nagaland, killing 10 soldiers. Earlier on the 3rd of April, another army patrol was attacked by suspected NSC and K terrorists, killing 4 soldiers in the Tirap district of Arunachal Pradesh, bordering Nagaland.
It was the Defence Minister Manohar Parrikar who was at the target of the Congress party, and the Congress party said that instead of making statements, the Defence Minister should concentrate on defence of the country.
हमारे रक्षा मंत्री हैं जिनका अहम काम होता है इस देश की सुरक्षा रखना और हमारे आर्म्ड फोर्सेस के लोगों को सुरक्षित रखना. रोजाना ऐसे बयान देते हैं, अलूल जलूल बयान देते हैं. उनको इस तरह के बयान देने के वजूद हमारे जवानों को और इस देश की सुरक्षा के लिए अगर ध्यान देते तो बेहतर होते.
It's a shocking incident. Government should deal with this thing with all the seriousness it deserves.
The government is preparing a new multi-pronged strategy to combat armed resistance in the northeast, simultaneously pushing for certain quick-to-initiate development projects. But with the insurgency entrenched in some of the Seven Sisters for over 6 decades, this is a task easier said than done. With Asher Ahmed Khan in Delhi and Bureau Inputs, Bureau Report, India Today.
We go to our editor Strategic Affairs, Govt Sawant, who's tracking this story for us. Govt, multi-pronged strategy, but what does it exactly mean on the ground? What exactly is the army now planning in terms of its offensive against these terrorist groups?
Rajdeep, Chief of the Army Staff General Dalbir Singh, is in Imphal. He had commanded a corps and the army in the east. What the army is initially doing is increasing its strength. It's launched massive combing operations. Now the area where this incident took place, Chandel, is barely 15 kilometers from the Myanmar border. Even before the information perhaps reached Imphal, these terrorists would have slipped across into Myanmar. And even in Myanmar, the Kachin province, where the writ of the Myanmar government also barely prevails. So it's a very, very major task. What the army is doing immediately is taking out the safe houses, safe zones, the liberated zones where these terrorists operate. Those are being eliminated. A bigger task is to choke funds supply. Rajdeep, you very well know some of these terrorist groups have been collecting taxes, not just in Chandel and Churachandpur, but some even in Imphal. 32 terrorist groups. This is also a fight where they're jockeying for supremacy. So the army is trying to remove those safe havens for terror within Indian territory before they seek cooperation from Myanmar to take the offensive across.
Now, you've been saying since yesterday that this could be an operation involving more than one northeast militant or terrorist outfit operating in the area. Is there any truth to reports that there was intelligence that these groups were coming together to mount such an offensive against the Indian army?
Rajdeep, in the past 4 months, there's been a major realignment that has been taking place. While these terror groups keep cooperating with each other, but it's in the Kachin province that a meeting was held, and that is an area where there's also Chinese domination and open border, with elements from that state being allegedly involved in getting these terror groups together to form a West Southeast Asia terror outfit, which has the NSCNK, which walked out of a deal with Government of India, a peace agreement with Government of India, which has Ulfa's independent unit, which also has Pre-Pak, KLO and two other terror groups. So they're trying to reunite these terror groups. And the writing was on the wall, Rajdeep, an attack that took place in Arunachal Pradesh in Tirap, where we lost 4 soldiers. Then another attack that took place on an Indian Army convoy in the Mon district of Nagaland, where we lost 10 soldiers. And then this. It was gradually building up. Terrorists were on the upswing. The security forces have taken their time to respond.